Packet Tracer Activity 2.3.7. Navigate the iOS. Starting with step 1, we're going to connect the PC to the switch using a console cable. You can find a console cable under the Connections icon, and it's this blue icon here, so click on it, and then come up into the networking area. Click on PC1 and choose RS-232. Then click on the switch and click Console. Now if you've made a mistake and have connected these to the wrong ports, you can delete them by choosing the Delete tool up here on the toolbar, coming down and clicking on the item. Now make sure you come back up here and click the Select tool, or else you'll start deleting stuff you didn't mean to. Now I'm going to put the connection back between these to continue. So next, moving on to step 2, we're going to establish a terminal session with switch 1. A terminal session allows PC1 to communicate to switch 1 and send commands to switch 1. So go ahead and click on PC1 and then click on Desktop and then on the terminal window. There's certain configurations that need to be set up in order to communicate between the PC and the switch. And if you're using an environment other than Packet Tracer, actually using your computer with a physical switch, you'll need to make sure these settings are set as such. Go ahead and click the OK button. And then at the prompt, go ahead and press the return key. So next, moving on to step 3, we're going to explore the help system. So the help system is easily accessed by typing the question mark on your keyboard. Notice when I press the question mark, I did not need to press the Enter key. In this particular case, it just automatically presses it for us. And there's a series of commands. This is what you would type at the command prompt and what they do for you. You can type a letter, such as a T, then press the question mark, and it'll bring up the commands that are associated with or starting with a T. If I want to become more specific, I can type another portion of the command, such as TE, press the question mark, and it will only show me those things that start with a T and an E. Let's move on to part 2, step 1. Now we're going to move our our terminal into a more of a privilege mode. This will allow us to make changes to the switch. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to our terminal. I'm going to erase what we have there, and I'm going to press E and N, and then I'm going to press the Tab key. Notice that the system automatically entered a command for us. It did this because the enable command, as shown above, is the only thing that starts with an E and an N. So the system is smart enough to realize this. Press the Enter key to continue on and get into the privilege mode. You'll notice that the prompt has changed a little. So instead of a right pointing arrow, you'll have a pound symbol. This is just to indicate to you that you are in a privileged mode. Enter the help system again. So we're going to press the question mark. And this shows a series of options. Now there are a lot more options here than there were before. So if I scroll back up here, there were just a few commands. Now there's so many commands that there's a more indicated at the bottom. So to continue on, I just press the space bar, and it'll show the continuation of the commands. Now that we're at the privilege level, we can enter a configuration mode. Now to do this, we're going to enter the command configure. So I'm going to press configure. Notice there when I typed CON and then press the Tab key, it didn't give me a command because there happens to be 2 commands up here with the CON. I added the F and pressed Tab, and then it gave me configure. So once at the configure command, go ahead and press the Enter key. And you'll notice there's some options up here. Are we configuring it from the terminal, which we happen to be, memory or network? So we're just going to press T here, or you can just press the Enter key and it will choose terminal for us. Once again, the prompt changes. In this case, it has the word config added to this, just to let us know that we're going to be configuring things. To end the configuration mode, we can just type the word exit and it will take us back to the previous mode. Notice here that it has a pound symbol now as part of the prompt. And we got a little bit of a message that popped up here, just telling us some information about what has happened. This can be used for logging purposes to see what people have been doing on the switch. I'm just going to press the Enter command, or the Enter key, to get back to the command prompt. Now I'm going to go back to the configuration mode, and I'm going to do it a little bit differently here. I'm just going to type a part of the command name, in this way CONF, rather than the entire word configure. Then I'm going to type the word terminal behind it. What this is I'm putting two commands together, so I'm putting configure and the word terminal, so I don't have to have this message pop up. If I press Enter here, notice it will go back to the same command level that it was before. So I'm going to go ahead and press Exit here to get out of this. Moving on to part 3, we're going to start working with the clock. So we'll start by looking at what the clock says. So we're going to type the command show. As you notice up here, it says show running system information. And then we're going to use the command clock. Notice it's also a command. So we come back here to get to the bottom. You show clock, and it gives us some information. You'll notice that this time is really off. This just happens to be where the CMOS for this system was configured to originally. So what we're going to do is we're going to make another command here. I'm just going to type clock and press Enter. So it's telling me something here, that clock by itself is not an acceptable command. It needs to have some parameters added to it. So I can figure out what those parameters are by typing the command again, then pressing the question mark. This will tell me what parameters can be used with clock. So set is the only option here. So I can take, clock was already there, and then I can type the word set. Now let's see, maybe I can have some other commands. I'm going to press the space and a question mark, and that gives me some more information here. This is telling me that for this command I have to type clock set the hour. In this case it happens to be 12. Then you have to put a colon, the time 57, and I'll put 0 seconds. So we probably have some more commands or information we have to add here, so I'll put another question mark. So this is asking me for the day of the month. This is the 7th. Let me put another question mark, and then it wants the month. So I'm going to put June. Space, question mark. Then it wants a year, so 2020. Question mark, and that's it. It has a CR to indicate a carriage return. Now if you enter the show clock command, you should have the correct date and time. For the next section, step 2, you can do on your own. So this ends this video.